question. I think, Shola, the next thing I'm going to ask is that why do you think people find it difficult to speak out, especially in this part of our world? Because I think that I want to detach myself from the issue, but I know that in this part of our world, you see people, like you said, they'll tell you, don't tell third party, do this, do that. Or when you tell other people have the same challenges and all of that.
Like you said, it's a cultural thing. You know, I found out that conversation is an art, and vulnerability is also a key to show that you are whole.
Yeah.
It may you can own up and say, this is how I am feeling about something. It means to a certain extent you know that you have value. You realize that you deserve better, and you are saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to find a solution to the problem. So 2 things. Number 1, our culture doesn't, I look at my kids and the way they speak to us right now. And sometimes I'm trying to understand, are you rude or are you just saying your mind? The truth is that they're having conversation, but we didn't have that kind of conversation with our parents. And so if we didn't have that, how would you even practice conversation? When you were young and something went wrong, the first thing anybody wanted to do was blame you.
Yes.
They say, what did you do? Nobody validated the fact that you were hurt in the first place. So we grew up not being validated even when things went wrong. There's a stigma of the fact that even if you tell someone will say, oh, it's something you did, or you didn't do something right, or you're not a good husband, or you're not a good wife, or are you the only one? It happened to A, B, C, D. So the culture has, really participated in just helping ensure that we live a life of pretense. The second thing also is that people are broken.
Yeah.
See, when you're whole, you can tell somebody, this is what I'm going through. Because you know that thing you're going through doesn't define you.
Yes.
We've been defined by our problems. Because you're going through a problem doesn't mean you are that problem. It just means it's a difficult patch at that point in time.
And I think this takes me to another level. I think we're in a society that we believe that we need marriage to validate us.
Definitely.
Hence the reason why a lot of people hang in there and just say, oh, let me just be a missus. Let me just be there. I read some of the comments below our content out there. And I can tell you that a lot of Nigerians, I don't know how to say this. I don't know if I should say we are still backwards, because some people don't even understand that rape can actually occur in a marriage.
Definitely.
So in a situation like that, they understand where people are saying that, are you not husband and wife? What do you mean that he raped you? What can you share? How can you educate our listeners who are
So it's back to this whole thing of culture. It's back to this whole thing of us not understanding conversation. It's back to the family system. If you grew up in a place where conversation was not promoted, where you were not validated for saying the truth, where you were not taught the right values, or where it seems to be like there's a warped perception about marriage that I don't know where we got it from. But it may you have that warped perception in your mind. You're like, it may you get married, then you lose yourself, or you stop being you, and then your rights go. To an extent, that is true, but it's done in the context of a holistic or a whole marriage. So when someone is speaking like that, you can tell already there are cultural inhibitions in that way. There are family values that have been eroded. There are problems that go really, 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 really deep.
Lagos, we have Femi Jacobs in the studio. I think I will just dive into this whole issue. I know you've been listening to us on the radio while you were driving. So the question is, how can we change the narrative, Mr. Femi, at the moment with all the issues that we've been facing when it comes to divorces, marriages, especially when it comes to celebrities like you guys?
I don't know. I've really enjoyed the show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Everything she said about abuse people, abuse others is true. And the most important thing is this, because the question that came to me as a listener before I got to be a speaker on the show was this: so how do I know that I'm okay now, that I could do it, that I could get married? Let's say as I know, a caller called and said, oh, I know I have issues, I don't know what to do. You don't have to be completely well to go to work. You just need to take your medicine. You just need to know you got a problem. And you just need to start taking steps to make it happen. I think that it even brings couples closer. When you acknowledge your weaknesses, your abuse, your trauma, and the problems you're having, and you say, okay, you know what, I can't be a good spouse to you because this is what my past looks like. This is what I'm dealing with. And then both of you can seek help together. And it can even bring you closer because you know what you're dealing with. When you speak the way you're not supposed to speak, they know that's the abuse. You know, that's the abuse talking. And both of you can work it. Both of you can work for one another in the relationship.
Thank you so much for that. I think this leads to another question I want to ask you. The question is, what prompted her to speak at this time? knowing that she's a celebrity, something must have pushed her, because I know for a fact that we women are nurturers.
There's nobody who is equipped and who has the power and the discipline that is strong enough to treat you better than you treat yourself.
True.
All right. So if you want something too bad, we all do business. When we go to negotiations, the person that wants it the most is the person that gets the least from
Correct.
the situation. Now, but something happens when you're in a relationship. You grow. You grow in your sense of self. You grow in your appreciation of yourself. You grow in what you. So what you find out is, you now realize what you used to take 5 years ago, you can't take it.
Yeah.
And that growth forces you to speak up. It can happen. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but usually that's what happens. People grow, they meet somebody who treats them better. You know, and they may not be a romantic relationship, we just be friendship. And they see the value in them that they themselves didn't see in themselves before. So what they do is, they realize that I'm worthy. I deserve better. I don't have to keep putting up with this thing. So they speak out.
All right. What can we do to change the narrative in our country today when it comes to all of these challenges that we are facing in marital wars?
We can't change the narrative. If you go to Oklahoma, go to everywhere, this country, the society is a continuum. And as much as we think we're changing, we're not really changing much. What happens is that individuals have to find for themselves what works
For them.
The society will never change this narrative. Now, till we die, till another generation comes, marriage will always be a situation where people say, okay, it's a status symbol. It would never stop. There's no movement that can make it stop, because we're made for relationship. And in relationship, really, there will always be a situation where cultural clashes will come, programming will come, conditioning will come. We can't change the narrative generally, or we can change it individually. Each of us can educate ourselves to a point when we say, okay, this is what they're saying out there. But that's not who I am. That's not what I want.
Thank you so much, Femi. Thank you so much, Shola, for coming to the studio today. And I think, Femi, I've said it all. Don't let someone who doesn't know your value tell you how much you are worth.